Let's just dive right in, because today we are unpacking something truly magical. Have you ever sat back, watching your favorite animated feature, and just wondered, how on earth does a simple fleeting thought in someone's mind become this sprawling, living, breathtaking animated world? Well, we're going to demystify that entire process for you today. We are walking through the complete animation pipeline, taking you from that very first conceptual spark all the way to the final glowing screen. It's this incredible journey where art meets extreme technical precision, and honestly, it's just mind-blowing.
So that really is the core question, right? How does a simple idea become a living, breathing world? Think of this explainer as your exclusive behind-the-scenes factory tour of a massive animation studio. We're walking through the invisible doors to see exactly how it's done. And you'll see pretty quickly, it's not just a bunch of artists drawing really fast. It's a massive, highly structured industrial-scale collaboration where every single step relies completely on the one right before it.
Okay, here is the quick roadmap for our tour today. We'll hit blueprinting the animated vision, creating the world, bringing it to life, and finally, the final polish.
All right, Phase 1, blueprinting the animated vision, or as the pros call it, pre-production.
Now, this pre-production phase is basically the foundation of the house. If you have a poor foundation here, you don't just get a slightly messy movie. No, you get terrible visuals, or worse, the whole project just completely collapses before it even gets off the ground. It all starts with concept development to nail down the grand theme, followed by script writing to lock in the dialogue and action. But you know, animation is a visual medium, and that leads us to storyboarding. Fun fact for you, studios can actually spend years just drawing, scrapping, and redrawing these storyboard panels before a single final frame is ever animated. It's essentially a visual script to help directors figure out the camera movements and the flow of the story.
And that brings us to animatics. These are simple, moving versions of those storyboards with rough timing. Think of it as a moving, breathing, rough draft. They take those static drawings and edit them together with temporary sound effects, some music, and dialogue. This lets the team actually sit down and, well, watch the movie before it's even made. It's also during this crucial stage that voice actors are cast to bring personality to the characters, and the executives finally lock in the schedule, the resources, and the budget. Once that animatic is approved, boom, the blueprint is locked.
Moving right along to Phase 2, creating the world. This is the first half of the production phase.
Now we're officially walking out onto the factory floor to build the visual foundation. First up, layouts. Artists create incredibly detailed drawings of the scene settings. Then comes character design. And this isn't just, drawing a cool-looking hero once. Nope. Designers have to define the character's appearance, their costume, and crucially, draw them from multiple angles to create what are called model sheets. Why? Because a team of hundreds of animators needs to know exactly what the back of that character's head looks like, or how their jawline shifts when they look up. Finally, environment creation builds out the specific landscapes, buildings, and story locations.
But before these characters can actually move, they need a skeleton. Enter rigging. This involves organizing those 2D character drawings into separate hierarchical layers. Think of a character's body, arms, legs, eyes, and mouth as totally separate pieces. The riggers build controls into these layers, effectively giving a digital puppet its strings and rotation points. By setting up these pivot points, an animator can easily flex, pose, or transform the character later on without having to redraw every single tiny detail frame by frame. I mean, it is an absolute game changer for efficiency.
Okay, Phase 3, bringing to life. The second half of production where things really start moving.
To create the illusion of movement, we basically need two things. First, key animation. These are your senior artists who draw the extreme poses, like the wind-up, the impact, and the follow-through of a punch. That forms the basic structural skeleton of the scene. But if you just stopped right there, it would look incredibly choppy. So that's where in-betweening comes in. This is the meticulously tedious work of drawing everything in between those keyframes, literally just to make a simple arm wave look smooth, realistic, and natural. Honestly, these artists are the unsung heroes of the industry. They've got to have some seriously tired wrists.
Once the animation is actually flowing smoothly, we hit compositing. Now, up until this point, the background is in one department, the character is over in another, and the lighting hasn't even been finalized yet. Compositing is where all these separate invisible layers are suddenly stacked together. The compositors combine the characters and the backgrounds, and they tweak the colors and lighting to create a single, unified frame. It's this magical aha moment where all those disparate puzzle pieces finally snap together into a beautiful finished scene.
And that brings us to Phase 4, post-production, the final polish. Now it's time for that cinematic gloss.
Editors arrange all the completed scenes for perfect flow, just obsessing over the timing to make sure the story is smooth and easily understood. Then, visual effects artists jump in. They add the snow, the rain, the smoke, water, and literal magic effects that make the scenes truly dynamic, alongside the final color correction. And nestled right in the middle of all this is sound design, which is a step so crucial it absolutely deserves its own spotlight.
Seriously, the crucial element that really grounds this entire spectacle is sound design. I mean, imagine a beautifully animated, composited, and color-corrected explosion happening on screen. If it is dead silent, it's emotionally flat, right? It just feels like looking at a painting. But you add a booming, chest-rattling bass drop, the sound of shattered glass, maybe a swelling orchestral score, suddenly you're watching a movie. Sound creates emotion, it improves the storytelling, and it completely sells the realism of this completely fake animated world.
And finally, we cross the finish line with final output. After every single correction is made, the audio is mixed perfectly, and the colors are locked in. This highly polished, professional-looking product is exported. Depending on where it's going, it gets formatted perfectly from massive movie theater projectors, streaming platforms, television broadcasts, or digital media. The blueprint has finally become a triumphant reality. So next time you stream an animated movie, will you be able to spot those invisible layers? The meticulous in-betweening of a simple handshake? The rigorous rigging hiding behind a character's smile? Or maybe that incredible compositing that blends a 2D character flawlessly into a rainy background? Hopefully this little factory tour gives you a totally newfound appreciation for the massive, painstaking collaboration and sheer magic hidden right there on your screen. Thanks so much for joining this explainer. Keep your eyes peeled, and we will see you next time.